Hey everyone, it's Brandy. Are you guys there? So I'm exhausted today, but I had a lot of requests. I've been working all day, and I had a lot of requests yesterday to follow up with my blending video and show you guys blending with waxes. So I'm here tonight working on the same piece I was working on, and I'm going to show you guys that last step. I'm at low blood sugar and I really just want to go take a shower and die on my couch tonight. So hopefully this will be just a quick video to show you guys how I'm going to emphasize this look with some waxes. So come on and let me know that you're here and you can see me. And then we'll get started once I know you guys are watching. So this piece we were working on last night, I came on and I showed you guys. See if you can see like my feet down here. I blended out these corners like here. So let me tell you what I've done since last night. Hi, Do. Hi, Joy. So since last night, I told you that I was going to add a mold into my, I thought this portion up here looked like a mustache. I love it with the mold on there. I really think it makes it a focal point now. I'm going to zoom in on it so you guys can see. So I used Redesign with Prima molds and then Amazing Resin, and I cast this from resin, and I glued it on with Gorilla Wood Glue, and then I just added some paint so it kind of blends in with the wood that's behind it. And the reason I chose to not paint this wood is because you can see it's burled wood. It's just a veneer, but it's a burled veneer, and it's really pretty. And so I wanted to keep that as an accent. Hi, Cindy. So then I had extra resin left, so I also went ahead and cast an extra one for the bottom down here. So when we are waxing tonight, I'm going to accentuate these casted molds a little bit too. So what I have out is I have 3 Dixie Belle waxes out tonight. I have Grunge Gray, Black, and Brown. When I'm shading with waxes, I like it a little bit different than when I'm doing an all-over wax. Hi, Amy. Hey, Susan. I actually like my waxes firmer when I'm doing shading with waxes. When I'm doing an all-over wax, it's nice to work with a nice soft wax. But for just shading, I like a nice firm wax. So I actually have, these are old tins, and I've let them harden a little bit because when they're firmer, they will stay where I want them a little bit better. So that's just a suggestion that I like old tins of wax for. You like this? So honestly, this is just the wood grain for my piece, and I used something called a weathered wood accelerator from Varathane. Here, I'll grab it and I'll show you guys the can. Hang on. Hang on, guys. I'm looking for it. I have 3,000 wood stains. I'm looking. Oh my gosh. Of course. I don't even see it. Okay. Well, I don't want to be gone too long. Oh, here it is. Hang on. I found it. Hang on. Okay, sorry about that. So I wanted to show you guys. So this is what I used. This I just it's a veneer, and I actually sanded this down. So you like the mustache looks better, huh? So I sanded this down to the bare wood, and it has this grain pattern in the veneer. This was a feature of my piece beforehand. And then I used this, which is a weathered wood accelerator. So it ages wood a little more naturally than a gray wood stain would. You apply it onto bare wood. It goes on, it's super watery. If you guys can hear that. It's super watery. It does have it can have a purpley tint. I wouldn't use this on really red woods like a mahogany because it can turn that purpley tint. So this I think is my top is a walnut, And so it worked okay with the cooler wood tones. I probably would not use this on like a red mahogany though. You're right. So it's really watery. You just put it on. I use 2 coats of this and I let it sit overnight and it just grays the wood naturally. It's not really dramatic. If you want something dramatic, this is a very subtle look. So that's what I used on the wood. And then I've got, so since last night, I've clear coated this. I did my molds on here and down here. I had told you guys that I needed to fix this bottom portion. So I added this molding back on. Hey, Mark. So let me show you. Okay. These are all my artist brushes. And yes, I keep them in a, Otter Pop box because I have kids. So these are all my artist brushes. And for what I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to choose a really, really tiny one that's fairly firm. And I don't wash these out every time, so you can tell it's been used for waxes. It's a natural bristle brush. And then I'm going to choose, let's see, I like these. So these are, this is a Craft Smart version. I also have another version that is by Waverly. They're these natural bristle short brushes, and I like these for applying my waxes deliberately, this skinny brush here, and then I like these for blending it out. So ladies, if you guys know, I would compare this to doing a smoky eye look. Now I cannot do a smoky eye on myself because it looks like I got into a bar fight, but I can do waxes like a smoky eye. So if you're doing a smoky eye, you would add your eyeliner and then you would smudge out your shadows a little bit with your brushes. So we're going to add our eyeliner and then we're going to smudge it out a little bit. And then I have a rag out. So I've got my Dixie Belle waxes here. My Grunge Gray is a little stuck. Okay, so let me find a good place to start on. I'm going to start over here in this corner, I think, right up here. So it's already got some shading to it. It has a little sheen because I put the gator hide on it. This is going to be a bathroom vanity. And Vanessa, you missed it. Yesterday I went live with this piece and just, I showed how I blended out these corners. You can see some, it's very subtle. This is a very subtle piece. It's got the, cool gray wood tones. Hey, Stephanie. So this is a more subtle look. I've got a base of Dixie Belle Driftwood, and then I blended in some chocolate and some Gravel Road on my 3 colors. You love the bar fight. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a smoky eye kind of girl. So tonight I'm just going to come back and in the same areas I shaded with paint, I'm going to emphasize them with some waxes. So I'm going to take, okay, where's my small brush? This little brush, I'm going to, okay, my phone's on low power. Sean?
I have 2 of those actually.
Hey, can you grab me a phone charger? My phone's going to die. This one I'm going to use for when I want to get into crevices. I'm not going to start with a crevice. I'm going to start up here in this corner. Sorry, my phone's going to die. And I think I'm going to start with my Dixie Belle Brown wax. So I'm going to take it and I just lightly dab it into the wax. I barely want any wax because I'm not trying to wax my whole piece. I'm just trying to shade with the waxes. So I'm really just going to smudge these in. I'm going to, that was a little too subtle. So I'm going to try some black now. So this is my black wax. Yeah, that's better. I'm going to open this drawer so I can get that corner. Okay, and so with a soft hand, you guys can see my hand, I'm just going to feather the waxes in. I'm going to get a little bit more of the black. You guys can see how it just starts adding some dimension to the corner. And when I'm waxing like this, I like to think about where are spots that like your fingers would have touched over the years, would have gotten extra wear. So it's going to be your corners and your edges. And I said in the beginning, I like a firmer wax for this because you can see I don't want it to smear and smudge. I want it to stay where I'm putting it. My husband's coming to the rescue to plug my phone in because it's on low battery. So I'm also going to kind of dry brush my waxes out onto these raised portions here because I want to give dimension to the tops of those. So I'm just using this little tiny natural bristle brush. I'm going back and forth between brown and black waxes because dirt is the combination of brown and black. You may have said this before. I didn't create this. This was natural wood grain. That was a feature of my piece. So I just accentuated it. I just kept that as a feature rather than painting over it. Yes, please. So, I mean, what I just did, it's not, I didn't add a whole lot. I really just am smudging in my waxes. And it just deepens the paint color where I've already shaded with paint. So it's the combination of paint and wax that gives that, this is a little bit of brown wax I'm adding here to the bottom of this foot. I'm going to add it to this molding right underneath too. I think it's layers. You know, you're adding layer upon layer, layers of paint, layers of glaze, layers of wax, and all the products together really give these complex looks that you know, have so much interest and authenticity. So let's see. So I just did that corner up there. I'm going to come down. Let's see. I think I'll do just the top of this little medallion piece here. I'm also going to shade onto my wood a little bit. So I'm going to open this drawer a little bit. Yes, I'm using my paintbrush handle to open my drawers. Okay, so I painted in this line. I just used a little artist brush, and this is white paint in here. Was how I accentuated that. So now, like I said, I'm going back and forth between my Dixie Belle brown and black waxes. I also have out my Grunge Gray Wax, and I'm going to use that for places that I really just want, you know, just a very subtle, because these are the colors I used in my piece. It's the warm grays and browns. So I'm going to do like the corners of my wood stained area too. So since we got off last night, I've coated this in gator hide. So before I'm adding these dark waxes, my piece is protected. I can control the application of these. So I just have a little natural bristle brush, and I'm just coming in and adding a little bit of waxes just to the edge, just to darken them a little bit. It's just very subtle, but these little subtle things make all the difference in the world. And layering the products, layering the paints and glazes and waxes. Yeah, exactly. You're highlighting the features of your piece. So I'm, you know, this is my piece has already determined the look and shape of everything, and I'm just accentuating it a little bit. So I'm going to do around the edges of my wood. I'm going to come down here to my corner and my foot, and I'm going to dirty this up a little bit. So down here, I'm going to start with some brown, I think. I highlighted the bottom of my foot. I put some white in here, and it's a little stark. So I'll put you guys back and see if you can see that. Yeah. So I'm gonna use brown wax, and I'm gonna get that in there and dirty it up because I don't want it to be so neat and clean looking. Get into the crevices of my foot, really dig it in there. This is brown. Now I'm gonna go back with some black. Ooh, top 5. Wow. You know, I think about that when I'm doing a piece. Like, is this? I don't know how to say it. Like the next level for me. Is this taking things to another level? Am I learning? Am I pushing my limits with this? So I try to either experiment with new color combinations, or I mean, everybody's got their style, and I have a style that I'm comfortable with, but new color combinations or For example, the other piece I was working on today, I've been using a sea sponge, and it's a different technique for me. Different, gives it a little bit of texture, but the piece itself is gorgeous. I'm going to turn this because I want to get all around my foot down here. So I'm digging into these crevices with my brown wax. I'm dirtying it up, alternating between the brown and the black. And then I'm taking my rag and I'm wiping it all off. You could do this with a glaze. I actually hate glaze. When I don't have to use it, I try not to. If I can substitute glaze with paint or wax, I try to use paint or wax. I just prefer them. I'm more comfortable with them. Going back with some black. And I'm just going to get the areas that I want to be really dark and give some shape to my foot down here. So now I'm going to come to this corner and do the same thing. So these are all the areas I hit with my darker paint. Hi, Kim. This is next level. Well, then I guess I succeeded. So again, I'm going to come, these are all the areas I darkened with my paint, and I'm just using this. I'm going to bring you guys to see a little better. Swipe left if the comments are in your way, because I know I'm working down low. So remember how I said I like my wax firmer? If this was, Dixie waxes are really soft, which is great for all over application, but because I want this to stay just in the areas I'm putting it, I like my wax a little bit firmer. So I work with a really old can of wax that I have let sit out, and it firms up, gets a little crusty, and that's what I save. Yeah, I definitely would seal first. If you want to be able to, you see how I'm putting the waxes on and then I'm wiping them back off. If you want to be able to control the application of your waxes, you really want your piece to be sealed first. So see here, I'm wiping it back off a little bit. When I wipe, it's going to stay, it's going to find all the low points that would have gotten dirty over time, and it's going to grunge those up a little bit. So if you can see, it really just accentuated the color, the paint colors I already added. It's just gives it dimension. And then up here where I did, so now I'm going to turn it and we'll do the side. And this is where, so I've already shaded with paint. You can see I've got, I kind of made a U shape in here. I started with my Dixie Belle driftwood, and then I shaded in some chocolate and some gravel road around the edges. That video is on the same page from yesterday. So you can look that up if you want to see that part. So I've shaded this. It's nice and dry, and I put my top coat on it. So same concept, but now I'm going to take this little tiny brush. I'm going to dip it in black wax, and then I'm going to come into my very edges, and I'm going to darken just the corner. I'm just going to ride that corner. Okay, and once I've got it in there really good, that was black wax. I'm going to come back with some brown and my little brush like this, and I'm going to smudge it out. Okay, a little heavy up here, but I have that top coat on, so I can just wipe it right back again. So I'm going to wipe that back off, and it just grunged up that corner and added, it just gave it some dimension. So I'm going to come over here and do this other one. They're already dark from the paint. Hey, Antoinette. Uh-oh, Brandy, am I in trouble? That's what I say to my kids. Oh, you didn't use my middle names. Okay. I'm exhausted today, you guys. I finished another piece today as well in blue. It is beautiful. And then I worked on this one quite a bit too. So I just used my skinny brush and I rode that line with some black wax, coming back with my brown wax. I'm going to work it into that corner. This is brown wax. So Dixie Belle waxes are water-based, so you can use them in any combination with their top coats. So I can seal these. This is just detail waxing. I can seal this in with a Dixie Belle top coat when I'm done. And then my detail waxing will be protected as part of my piece. So, I mean, I'm gonna come down here and get these bottom corners. I really want to grunge up, like this is the spot where maybe like feet would have got it, or you know, over time people have cleaned it, but they forgot to get the bottom very well. This is where it would be dirty. It would be dirty in the corners, dirty. How do you clean your wax brushes? I just use Dawn dish soap, and I have a little, I don't know if you guys have seen them. They're little like makeup brush cleaning pads. I mean, this is my phone case, but it looks kind of like this, and I put some Dawn dish soap on the makeup brush cleaner, and then I will scrub my brush out onto there. You can find them at, you know, Target and stuff. I think I got mine at Marshall's, and it's a makeup brush cleaner. I don't have it out here. It's next to my sink, but I just use a little bit of Dawn dish soap because it cuts grease really well. Okay, so I'm not even going to go all the way around. I really just did the corners here, but do you see how it softened? This is the side of my piece and how it softened that. And so, just move over my rag. That's what I'm going for all the way around. So now I'm going to hit this little medallion down here, add some dimension to that. My brush is starting to get a little bit dirty, so I'm going to take advantage of that. It's got some brown and black in it. I'm going to add some Grunge Gray Wax. I'm going to dig it in here. I'm going to dirty this up. Again, this is a piece where, you know, you would have cleaned it over time and dirt got stuck in these crevices. So actually bring you guys in if you can see this better, what I'm doing. So I'm just digging it in here. I mean, you can do this with a glaze, but I like how the softness of wax is. Glaze doesn't give you that same smudgy effect. You know, I can't take credit for that wood grain. That's just part of my piece, you guys. Cannot even take credit for it. I'm super happy that my customer loved it too. This is a custom order. So, you know, we decided to keep the wood grain as an accent because it was too pretty to cover up with paint. So I'm really happy that she did that. So all I did down here, I'm going to come back in and feather it out a little bit onto my piece. So this is what I do with everything. I really look at my piece and think like, I go through the steps. What can I do with paint? You like what I did with the mustache? It's better, huh? It doesn't look as mustachy now. And I want to accentuate this too, because this is on a dark background and I want it to pop. I'm going to use black wax. Got my little brush, and I'm just using one brush on all 3 colors of wax. I'm going to dig this into here. This is a mold I created with resin. My kids are tired, you guys. I hear them outside. My youngest one is crying right now. He might come in here. Okay, so I've dug it into all the crevices on my mold. And now I'm going to come back and wipe it back so it just stays in those low points. Very similar to what a glaze would do. Okay, and it really just, let me bring it in, show you guys. So it just, you know, found the low points and gave it kind of a smudgy look around the edges. I'm going to do the same thing around the edge of here. Okay. The kiddos are out here. Okay, so I'm going to come around here. So I'm assessing, I think I'm going to use this small brush and get that crevice. How did I attach these? I either use E6000, which is a craft store glue, or I use, in this case, I couldn't find my E6000 because I just moved. And I mean, I know where most of my stuff is, but some of it I haven't found yet. So I used my Gorilla Wood glue to attach these, and it works fine. I mean, it's not going anywhere. I just did this today, and that is on there. My wheeled coasters. If you guys go to the live from last night, I posted a link for my wheeled coasters. I will post it again tonight after we get off. They are from Amazon. A set of 4 is like $25. So I just put some wax around here, and now I'm coming back in and I'm smudging it back out, and I'm going to add some, that was black, I'm going to add some brown. He fixed the mustache. Sent an IOD. These are redesigned with Prima molds and amazing resin. I cast this with resin, and I think it now is like a feature and it fits in more. Okay, so I just dirtied that up with some brown wax, and now I'm going to come back, take it back off. I just wanted to find some of the low points, just soften this a little bit. Just shadowing it, adding age and character. I mean, it's the combination of all these. So you can see them at my corner up there, and then down here where we grunged up the foot a little bit. I grunged up this piece with some wax. And I'm going to come up here and do this corner too. So it'll be symmetrical. I'm going to open the drawer because I want to be able to get this corner. Hopefully not break my paintbrush doing it. Okay, well that's good enough. Hey Greta. How the drawers were done. So the drawers, this is wood grain. I can't take credit for that. I sanded them and I added a weathered wood accelerator to gray the wood a little bit. And then I have a clear coat on there. And all I'm going to do is shade the edges with some wax. But otherwise, I cannot take credit for this. This was my piece. So I'm coming up here with some, that was brown, this is black wax. I'm just feathering it in. I barely have any on my brush, and I'm using a fairly soft hand. So I rubbed it over the top, so I kind of hit the raised edges of my moldings here. Let me get you guys in close and show you what it looks like. So I did a little bit of this with paint, but now that I've added the waxes and brought it out a little bit, it's just that little bit of extra drama. And then I've got the waxes around here. You know, you can't always tell these little things, but they add up and they add to the total feel of your piece. Like that corner down there is a great example. You just see a little bit of shading in there in the upper corner. Kathy. So let's come over here and do this corner to match that side there. Where did I start that one? With some brown. You guys, this is for a customer. It's going to be her bathroom vanity for a bathroom remodel. I have seen a picture of the bathroom. It's got warm gray hexagon tiles in it. I pull my drawer out. I also do my drawer sides in a hexagon as well. So I stenciled on here this little honeycomb pattern, and that kind of matches the tile that she used for her bathroom. There we go. My drawer's kind of off kilter. What was I doing? I'm feeling spacey today, guys. I'm really tired. I've been out working all day. But I had a few people ask if I would go live with the waxes, and so I wanted to do that so I can go in and take a shower and crash out on my couch. So I hit this with my brown wax first and then a little bit of black. And now I'm going to come in and wipe it back. I'm not trying to take it all off. I just want to soften it. That just smears it a little bit. You know, wax is very malleable. Okay. Just rub the top of that molding a little bit. So let's see, I did this piece on the other side. You know, now I'm getting to the point where I've got waxes in my brush. They say they slip off. Yes. Here is my complaint, and I explained this last night about these, my furniture casters. I hated these when I first got them because I have always worked in my garage, and in my last house, my garage, your garage has, you know, the stress cracks in the concrete. They're like this wide. Well, these casters would fall into the stress cracks in the concrete and my piece would fall off, and I hated them. I never used them. In my new workspace, I have a engineered vinyl flooring that I laid, and this stuff is amazing. So now, because I don't have any cracks, my wheels slide. If these hit any sort of obstacle, your piece is going to fall off of it. So now that I've got a smooth surface to roll them on, I really like them. I hated them before. I've had these for a while. So that's the key. Really evaluate your workspace, and if it's got any kind of obstacle for those wheels, no, they don't work. Yeah, so you can kind of see how it's taking shape, and this is I mean, it's the combination of all these things. It's the combination of the layers of paint that give it depth up here, and you know, then the waxes accentuate that. So it's just the combination of all the products together. The layering of paint and wax and glaze, and you know, the more complex your piece is, the more interest your look is going to have. So I just dug the wax into the little details on my feet to dirty it up a little bit so it's not so white. I'm going to come back and wipe it off so it just stays in the low points. And then let's turn it. The other side. I mean, that's how fast this process is. I sit on my garage floor and really just smear waxes, and I do this just about with every piece. Black wax goes on pretty much everything I make, because black wax you can shade. This is fairly light colors, but you can shade even deeper colors with black wax. So I love, love, love black wax. A little bit goes a long way. Less is more. Same thing again, like makeup. So I'm going to get into this little crevice under here. I'll have to go back and do that on the other side. I want to make sure my, you know, both sides are the same. And then I'm going to find my skinny brush because I'm working on the side, and I'm going to get black wax. Yeah, Dixie Belle is one of the only ones that has the water-based waxes, so you can use them interchangeably. And I didn't know that. If you go back to some of my first videos with Dixie Belle, I learned the same way that most people do, that waxes last. And that rule does not apply with Dixie Belle. It doesn't have to be last because the waxes are water-based. And that water-based also makes their waxes really, really, really soft. So when you want an all-over application, their waxes are nice and soft. They go on with just a, you know, thin coverage, so you can layer them as much as you want. Okay, so I just put black wax into the corner and I smudged it out with some brown. Look how pretty that is. It's really soft. Hang on, there we go. It's really soft looking. Just looks like my paint's a little bit dirty and aged. I'm gonna come back and do the same thing to this side. So I just ride this crevice with my thin artist brush with black wax. You can see right there, it just accentuated that crevice. So that was a little natural bristle thin artist brush. Paint goddess. Oh, too much pressure, guys. Thank you, Joe. That's really sweet. Hey, Mert. Okay. When I start, I ride this corner, and as I come out, I have less and less wax on my brush. So it starts giving me less coverage as I come out. I clean up that top corner and then just wipe away some excess. I'm going to dirty up these bottom corners a little bit. I didn't add any wax after that. I still have wax in my brush. And I'm taking advantage of that because sometimes you just want that very light coverage. And I'm just smudging on what's already left in my brush. Like I said in the beginning, I like older wax tins for this because they are more, it's a little firmer. It's a little crusty. So those old waxes, you guys will see when I photograph this. I think it's hard to take in from this perspective, but when I photograph this, all these little details matter. They all matter. And layering the products, the paint, the glaze, the waxes, gives you the depth and dimension and the detail. So anyway, that was my Dixie Belle waxes in black, brown. I think I only used the Grunge Gray one time, so that could have, I love Grunge Gray Wax. But sometimes I just get them all out and then I'll see what looks best. And sometimes I'll start with brown and see what that looks like and then move on to black. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to blacken these edges here with some waxes. And then I'm going to put my hardware on this piece and I'm going to photograph it. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. I'm going to add another layer of top coat over this. Dixie Belle Gator Hide because it's going to be a bathroom vanity. And Gator Hide is water repellent. So I think with my hardware on here, it's going to just be that finishing touch. So you guys, I'm Brushed by Brandy. Go like my page if you haven't already. My affiliate link is at the top of this page. So if you like this video, I always appreciate a purchase through my affiliate link. And I did not paint these lines. This is wood grain. This is the wood grain of my piece. I just sanded it and I grayed it. And then I top coated it. So that I can't even take credit for it. I did all the paint work. I love these colors together. Again, this is Driftwood, Chocolate, and Gravel Road are the three colors I used, and then in my waxes. I see all the hearts. Thank you, guys. How did you make it look white in the indented area of the wood drawers without making... Okay, so let me explain that part. Oh, wait, here. I just wrote this line with an artist brush. Let's see. The one I use, I think, is inside washing, but a really small one like this. Even smaller than this, though. It's on my counter. Oh, no, more like this. I used a tiny artist brush, and I just wrote this line with white paint. It is not perfect, but it fits with the character of my piece. Yes, this is a redesign with Prima mold, and I cast it with amazing resin. This one here I added, and this one down here I added. Because this was a flat piece, and it just looked plain. It just needed a little bit of extra detail, and I like how this really focuses on the center. So I've got my wood grain focusing on the center, and then I added this on the center, and it comes down here, and this is on the center. So it's very symmetrical. My mind needs symmetry. It's why I don't do boho. Yeah, I mean, I wish there was a secret to getting crevices like this, but really I just used an artist brush. So anyway, that's my secret to, shading with paint and then shading with the waxes in the same way. And it just gives that extra detail and dimension and accent. Looks great. Look, it doesn't, it doesn't look as mustachy, huh? It looked like a mustache before. Picture it without this, you guys. Look at this shape. It looked like a mustache. So now I think it's really pretty. Now it's it's a feature. And then my top is wood stain to match this. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, so anyway, go watch the video from yesterday if you have questions on the paint technique. But otherwise, this one's going to be done, and I will get pictures posted. Thank you guys. Thanks for the hearts. I love you guys too.